blank. Lithium chloride, potassium bromide. 3, calcium chloride. 4, magnesium oxide. 5, NaF. 6, MgF2. 7, BaBr2. 8, AlCl3. 9, potassium fluoride. 10, potassium oxide. 11, calcium oxide. 12, beryllium fluoride. 13, LiBr. 14, MgS. 15, K3N. 16, Al2O3. Any questions? Okay. Again, I did videotape it. If you want to go back, if you say you didn't do them and you want to check your answers, you can go back and do it. Okay, so let's move on in our notes to the stock system. Remember, have your periodic table out and ready in front of you. Yes?
Are we going to get calculators this year?
Near the end, you will. When we start doing molarity, but not right now. Okay, so as you look at your periodic table, you may notice that many transition elements have more than one possible charge. So have you guys noticed that already in your tables? Like, so do you know what I mean by transition elements? So transition elements are everything in between from our alkali earth metals to the staircase, essentially. All this is called transitional elements. So like, say, look at copper on your transition or on your periodic table. So that's number 29. Check out copper. So what does it say the charge of copper's ions are? 4 plus 1, right?
The multiple charges only start from period 10.
Pardon me?
Multiple charges only start from period 10.
Okay. So, for example, copper can either be copper plus 1 or copper 2 plus. So what the heck? So how do we know which one to use? Well, if it's not specified, you always use the first one from like the top down, so the top one you would use, but there's a way for chemists to explain, because it's a big difference if either you have copper chloride or copper 2 chloride. Those are two different compounds. So scientists need to be able to communicate that to each other. So Alfred Stock, that's why it's called the Stock system, he developed a way to indicate which cation is in the compound. The Stock system uses a Roman numeral. You guys know Roman numerals? So like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, etc. Okay? If the cation has more than one possible charge, you must specify which ion is being used. Now, to do this, sometimes it's really helpful to write out your ions. So it's almost like uncrisscrossing. Okay, remember how yesterday we did crisscross? So today you kind of have to uncrisscross. So let's say we have the compound Fe2O3. So you think you kind of uncrisscross to yourself. Okay? So generally most anions can't be multiples. So when you look at, say, oxygen, what does oxygen's charge have to be? Go ahead. What? 2 minus, yeah. So oxygen has to be 2 minus. So that's where the 2 came from, right? Because we had to crisscross down. So what must iron be then? 3 plus, yeah. Because in order to get Fe2O3, I had to start with that.
So it's pretty much just like, that's where you started.
Yeah. Exactly. How did you get to that compound? You had to start with those ions. So now we name it. So because it's iron 3, when you look at your periodic table, iron can be either iron 3 or iron 2. So we have to say this is iron, bracket, 1, 2, 3, close bracket, oxide. So, anytime on your periodic table, if there is multiple options, you have to write the name with the Roman numeral. So if there are multiple options, you have to write the Roman numeral. So let's find more on our periodic table that have multiples. So look at your table and tell me some more that you see have multiple options. Cobalt, what else?
Nickel.
Gold, palladium, nickel, what else? Keep going.
Mercury.
Mercury, gold.
Lead.
Good. Bismuth,
Manganese.
yeah. So for any of those that ever have those elements in the compound, you have to write the name with the Roman numeral, okay? Yes?
So then which one do you pick? Oh, never mind.
Well, it will be,
Yeah,
you'll
it's
have
already-
either
it's
this,
already there.
yeah, okay? You'll be given either step 1, 2, or 3,
Yeah.
and then you figure it out, okay? So let's do another one. What if we started with Ni? Actually, let's start at the bottom. What if we're told, what if we are told that the name is nickel 3 bromide? Okay, we're told it's nickel 3 bromide. So what does the 3 mean? What's it implying?
There's 3 nickel.
Not that there are 3 nickel atoms, but that nickel has a charge of 3 plus. So that's really hard because before the numbers meant how many of atoms, but this number means the charge. And bromine, what's its charge? -1. So now we crisscross, and what's our compound? NiBr3.
None of these is 2 options without a negative.
No, but, pardon?
Well, any of them that have like 2 options have a negative.
No, just the positives have multiple options, yeah. Okay, let's try one more. So let's say we started with PbS2. Okay, this one's kind of difficult. So, like Michaela just pointed out, we know that the negatives never have multiple options. So sometimes it's good to start with your anion and write that one out first. So what is S?
Sulfur.
What charge? 2 negative. Okay. So if I uncrisscrossed, how would I get PB1 and S2?
I got the PB4.
Ah, okay, because I had to start with PB4. Lead.
Oh,
Because when I crisscross this, I get PB2S4, which then you make to a lowest common denominator of PBS2. Okay, so that's how I got from there. That's a hard one.
will there be questions like that?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
So that's the answer.
No, so thank you. So now the answer is to name it. So now we call it lead. What's its ion? 4. So lead 4 sulfide. That's the answer. The name.
So the PBS2 is a simplified.
Yes. You always want to take the most simplified formula, yeah. Because PB2S4 is incorrect. Like this is, to write your answers, this is wrong. So I was just showing you how did I know that it was these ions, okay? So now you can try the questions that are on the next page. Well, you write out. This one, it should just be actinium oxide. Yeah. So guys, when you're doing these questions, and say the first one, it says, it just gives you FeCl2. Please, 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 underneath of it, uncrisscross and write the ions. You gotta do it, okay? So how did I get that? Well, uncrisscross, and I started with Fe2Cl-. So then the answer is iron 2 chloride. So please, please, you must write the ions in order to solve. I know you might be able to do it in your head, but please write the ions for practice.